I have the pad.
That
Yeah, no, I don't like that. So we were watching Bar Rescue earlier, and John Tapper was referring to their kind of pre-opening,
mm-hmm.
right? And was inviting people to come to the soft opening. I don't know if it was the time and place and my mind. You know what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
Soft opening is not a correct way to... No. It's soft launch.
Yeah.
You don't talk about your soft opening because that only...
No, yeah. That's your beehole.
That's your beehole.
That's your beehole.
That's what me and Sinema were talking about. She was like, no, that sounds totally normal. Soft opening, soft launch. Everybody gets it. It's the same thing. It's like, no, dude, soft opening, that's a butthole.
See, the grand opening is that's like an event, you know.
But if you take the same like context in your head of laughing at soft opening and you apply it to grand
opening, I knew it was gonna happen. As soon as the words were leaving my mouth, I was like, oh no,
it's grand. No, yeah. Anyway, I thought I just wanted some confirmation that I'm not crazy there. She said that I was like a perverted weirdo, and
listen,
I don't
if somebody was like,
that.
"Hey," listen, I think the test is if you were walking somewhere on the street, right, and somebody was handing out not flyers, just verbally asking you, "Hey, do you want to come to my soft opening?" You'd be like, "No,
absolutely not."
If somebody said, "Come to my soft launch," you'd be like, "Oh, what are you launching?" If somebody said, "Come to my grand opening," you'd be like, "Oh, what's opening?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody said, "Come to my soft opening," you're like, "No," and then they're like, "Come to my grand opening," wink, and you were like,
Okay, the wink though. The wink is pretty obvious.
I mean,
no wink, and they're just maybe weird, but a wink and you have to call the FBI.
What?
A soft opening.
It's like the soft serve machine at a buffet.
Dude. What about a soft opening is like a soft serve machine at a buffet? Tell me about it.
When you are watching somebody, right, when you pull down the lever on the chocolate froyo, right?
Mm-hmm.
It looks like poop.
It's like two girls. It's
poop.
Well, grand opening reminded me of Goatsy, and then now you're talking about this, and it's Two Girls, One Cup, so it's like we just went to 2006 internet type stuff.
Oh my god. Just you wait until I talk about 2006 internet type stuff.
What's the worst though? I mean, those two things, it was Tub Girl that was pretty bad. Lemon Party was pretty bad, but those were like the ones.
Mm-hmm.
I think Two Girls, One Cup, I mean, that's like the legendary don't watch this video.
I think that the thing is that those were only so like weirdly popular because we weren't used to the crazy fetishes that were out there that you could find on the internet. Because I think there's stuff that's way worse right now on Reddit than Two Girls, One Cup.
You can find like casual porn that is Goatsy.
Yeah.
Now, which is pretty wild, but like Two Girls, One Cup. I mean, you don't find that that's not normal.
You can easily find it.
You can find it, but there's stuff that is probably more disturbing.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Not to quote Joe Rogan on this one, but 100%. There's some messed up stuff out there.
Yeah, me and Snowby were just talking about this. It's like we grew up at a weird time, not about like specific weird porno stuff, but like we grew up at a time where the internet was kind of a thing when we were very young, and then became way more of a thing in our early mid-teens, and then now is just this like I've got this disconnect with the youth, but I still am very much on the internet. But I just like I know how messed up I am from the internet, my short attention span, my like porn like you know what I mean? Like it must be doing something really bad to kids, like really bad. But I don't know. I can't even think about it for too long because it's like, oh, porn.
I think the internet's like a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
On one hand, it really takes a lot out of you mentally, right? Like I think people don't realize like how mentally exhausting browsing the internet is, right?
Well, I I think it's exhausting until it's not, and then you're just numb to everything.
I
You
think
can
that
read
that's
anything on the internet and don't care.
I think that that's a form of exhaustion because you get that when you're walking long distances too. You get to the point where you're just like, you don't even feel it anymore. You're just going. Yeah, right. Yeah. It's like, I think it's exactly the same. Like you hit that point of like mental exhaustion, you don't even recognize it anymore.
I've had this thing, kind of like I think we mentioned last week, but this thing of like, I just want to disconnect from the internet for like 2 weeks and just not know anything and just have no clue what's going on that day or the next day or what happened last week. I have no idea. But it just has never happened in my entire life. It's always like, I got to check my email.
There's a concept I think you might actually be interested in. It's called sacred spaces. I don't know if you've heard of it before.
No.
So the idea is that like humans need like a sacred space where basically they just are 100% focused in on like the experience of being there basically. So like imagine you had a room where when you went into, you didn't take your cell phone and there were no monitors or anything in there, no TVs, no anything. You just go in there and you meditate. That's kind of the idea of like a sacred space. But like a sacred space doesn't need to be a location. So like as an example, like when I go walking with Sapphire, that's like a sacred space for me because I take my phone with me, but I don't look at it. I don't use it. It's in my pocket just to track miles, and I'm just like in the moment with her. I don't listen to music either or anything. Like that's like a concept I think from like I heard it first from like a mental health thing, like working on your mental health thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting thing, just like little bits of time where you completely focus in on what you're doing, kind of like an intense prayer when you're going to church or whatever.
I've been trying to do that with our bedroom. I don't use my phone in that room at all. I only use it for an alarm because the whole thing of like in your bedroom you should only just be sleeping, whatever. Don't do other stuff. There's no TV in there, no nothing like that.
Oh, you do other stuff in your bedroom.
Yeah, pee all over the place. It's my
hell yeah. That's how you mark your territory. So nobody needs to know which side of the bed's yours.
Yeah, it's easy to forget. But then, like I had a therapist, and I was like, yeah, like I just have this weird thing where I'm constantly worried about stuff and like, stressed out about literally nothing. And she's just like, have you tried relaxing? And that's essentially what someone telling you to meditate is like, just breathe, LOL. And like, it's crazy because it's something that I know is true. That is probably the most helpful thing. She's like, stop drinking coffee, like cut out alcohol, weed, caffeine from your life completely. Nothing. Like be basically straight edge for life and then meditate. And I was just like, yeah, but I also don't want to. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to do that. And so it's kind of a weird balance of like trying to not do the right thing and get to the right place.
You don't want to meditate or you don't want to cut everything out?
I think I'm okay with the idea of meditating. I've tried it a few times and I did the whole like this is impossible and then started progressively getting more able to do it. But it just seems like maybe because I'm stubborn and I want it to be something different. I don't want to be like just relax LOL. You know what I mean?
So there's more than just like sit and meditate. There's other forms of meditation that you might want to look into.
Like what?
I don't remember the actual terminology for it, but there was an app that I was using that would basically give you like guided meditation, but it wasn't like think on potatoes for 15 minutes or whatever. Like it'd be like flex this muscle in your body as hard as you can for 5 seconds and then relax it. And then they would do that like progressively. Like I don't remember if they went from head to toe or from like feet up basically, but you flex each muscle in your body for like 5 seconds, then you relax it and you just kind of like breathe, and they tell you like breathe into it. That was like pretty nice. I like that. I like that more than just like you sit in a room in the dark, eyes closed, breathe for 15 minutes. You're good to go now. It's like what that like yeah, cool. Like I feel good, but like Jesus. Or like yoga is a form of like physical activity can be a form of meditation if done properly.
Yeah, this is I'm trying to get the garage ready for a point for me to have like an exercise space. I have all the equipment and stuff there. I just have all these moving boxes and styrofoam and stuff. But I finally have my little thing where I can, because I wake up super early these days, so I can I can just go work out in the morning or something. But I haven't done it because, I'm stupid, lazy.
It's hard to start. It's hard to start. It's hard to stay with it. But then once you start to get into it, it's hard to stop.
Yeah, it literally is. There's like a whole wall full of boxes because we have so much recycling, and that recycling only comes every 2 weeks. Yeah. It's gonna take like 6 weeks for us to actually have space in the garage. But yeah, that you're right is the hardest thing to start because I don't know, whatever it just is. But we're like I'm still in this thing of putting furniture together for the house. Like I still don't have a couch here, for example. That's coming tomorrow. We don't have dressers, so I just now started taking my clothes out of trash bags because all my clothes have just been in trash bags because I don't need to wear like fancy clothes because I'm not going anywhere. I'm just wearing shorts and t-shirts every day.
Okay.
So the way I moved all my clothes here is I had trash bags full of clothes that I then shoved into boxes, and so I moved boxes of trash bags, and then I just have all these clothes on the floor now. So that's how I've been living. So I'm kind of just trying to get out of that before I can start like thinking about how to live my life, which is what I'm trying to do now. Because it's kind of like you hit milestone, then you hit house with your fiance, and you're just like, well, now I'm gonna work on home games and retire one day or something.
Yeah, now it's like, now I have, I don't know, some number of years to do everything else.
Yeah, some number of years to do everything else, and you have to decide what that everything else is, which is like the hard. Going back to that Kid Cudi song, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going. Just like time moves forward, even if I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. When you start working out, are you going to listen to music?
Yeah, I actually was looking into Bluetooth speakers because I need to have something in there. I need to install some shelving in the garage too, though, for that.
What would it take to convince you not to listen to music while you work out?
I know you told me that you like to, when you lift, you like to just listen to yourself getting straining your muscles.
Yeah, feeling it.
Yeah. For lifting, I think I get that because when I watch things or when I get distracted when I do that. But for things like an elliptical, which I have in there, I need sound. I don't want to just hear the,
All right. I respect it. Listen, my brother, most jack person I personally know, he listens to music whenever he does any physical activity.
Yeah.
Him and I like complete opposites. I don't listen to music when I'm doing anything physical. It's funny.
Well, I'm sure that no music actually helps towards the whole mindfulness thing of it. Like you really, I think one of the things that I didn't realize until like months into working out and the times that I have worked out, it's like, oh, you actually do need to be present. And they say like focus on your core. It's not just nonsense. Like you really have to mentally be in control of your body the whole time. Yeah,
breathing is super important when you're working out and just being in the zone for it. I don't know. For me, it was from hiking though. When you're solo hiking, like when you're hiking, the margin for error is like this. When you're solo hiking, it's like that. It's like you have to be like completely focused. Like rolling your ankle when you're solo hiking can be dangerous. It's like you have to make every step perfect, basically. Mm-hmm. So listening to music wasn't helpful. Right. Also, when you're solo hiking, you don't want to not be listening and suddenly a rattlesnake gets you. Like you want to hear there was a snake. Like I don't know. It came from that, and I've just never listened to music since. Like just to be without music's been nice.
Yeah. I like driving without music sometimes when it's just like when you're going somewhere that maybe you have to think about like something kind of stressful. If you're going towards something that's going to be different in your normal life, then going without music, just like you just have to think. There's nothing else happening besides a road, which you kind of you just don't focus on the road. You know what I mean? Like when you're driving, you don't care because it's so secondary, everything that you're doing. So without music, your brain just has to like think about your life and stuff, and it gets really weird. Yeah.
Yeah, I've only done that a handful of times. One was when I first adopted Sapphire because I didn't want it to be like too much, right? So no music when I first adopted her and was bringing her home. After her space surgery, also no music because she was pretty out of it. And then probably a handful of times when I've driven when I'm pretty sick, like driven to urgent care or whatever, just because the less stuff to worry about, the better. Like, you don't want to be like sick driving and then also be like, well, this song doesn't fit the vibe,
Yeah.
But like going to find a new song and you're sick Just be sick and driving. Like, don't be sick and driving and trying to figure out a good song to listen to.
Like if you got diarrhea and then Scatman comes on shuffle, you really gotta change that up, you know.
Soundtrack to Two Girls, One Cup comes on, and you're just like, oh no.
There is a song to Two Girls, One Cup, right?
Yeah.
It's like violins or something.
Listen,
really
you can
pleasant.
find like that softcore porn music pretty much anywhere you want online.
It's true.
I feel like some of what I listen to falls in that category.
Yeah, I was watching a documentary on Houston's music history today, and it was on, Houston, Texas, and there was a part where they were playing like a slowed down whatever, because the whole thing with Houston hip hop in the 90s and stuff is that it was like, you know, slow and kind of whatever weird, trippy type stuff, and one of the beats that was playing just sounded straight up like 70s porn music. But it was like slowed down and kind of like rappy and hazy. But if you don't know that that's what they're going for, and you just heard it out of context, you'd think it was porn music, and it's just like embarrassing. Like, I hope no one hears the music coming from this YouTube video.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
Have you seen like how popular it is for people with drums to play the Pornhub?
Oh yeah,
little drum line thing.
Yeah, I saw that at a high school band did that at a football game.
Yeah,
and it's like,
really
I don't know.
cracks me up.
It's so strange because that stuff. I don't know. No one talks about porn, but everybody knows that song, and it's one of those things where, I don't know. It's just as a society we've all agreed to not talk about it, but laugh at that song.
There was like a study from a major university. They were trying to find the effects of porn on people, and they were like, "Well, we got to find a control group," and they literally couldn't find enough people to be in the control group.
Yeah.
Of like people who didn't watch porn, they were like, there's not enough of them for us to do a statistical analysis.
There's a lot of people who stop watching porn though.
I think that's a thing that I would like to try to do,
Yeah.
but I know I don't have that kind of mental control over my body.
You don't want to become a fapstronaut. It's a whole thing. Yeah, just go ahead and chug the whole Gatorade, bud. I'll wait.
Sorry, I need to cool down quick. I thought they were called Coomers.
No, Coomers are the people who are unwilling to change. The fapstronauts are those. Basically, a Coomer is like a rock bottom degenerate, and a fapstronaut used to be a Coomer.
So a fapstronaut is somebody who's given up fapping, and a Coomer is somebody who coons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. Oh God. All right.
Ready for our soft opening?
Yeah, that was a good cold open. You ready to get into this?
Was that the cold open? Are we gonna use that whole thing?
Yeah, all 20 minutes of it.
Jesus.
Cold open. Like,
Whatever.
What are these people talking about?
Yeah, we'll go through. It'll be another like 2.5 hour podcast. Anyway,
We always
whatever.
hit like 1:30.
Yeah.
Um.
Sure. Whatever. I'm down.
All right. I mean, do you want to do just a random conversation, mini conversation? I have some.
No, I mean we had a pretty random conversation. I'd say. I mean, the more we talk about it, the more weird it is because we're either 20 minutes into the podcast or we're cutting all this stuff.
Good point. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode... Are you sure this is episode 38? I thought this was 39.
I thought it was 38. Let me check Spotify and see what the last episode of our podcast was, because this is how together we are. No, the last one was 37.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 38 of Batch Notes, the Home Games Podcast. I'm Yazeed, and this is Joseph.
Hello, I am Joseph, the date master, and I already forgot the date. I just looked at it on my phone. Hold on. July 14th. Today is July 14th, 2020. Hello.
You know, so there's a podcast I listen to, and the host of that podcast always jokes when he's like, if you want to know what episode number this is, just look it up. It'll be in the description. Like, it's going to be the name of this episode. I don't need to say it every time. And I'm starting to think that might be a good idea because
I want to get to
like the higher numbers.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say I've been watching the Joe Budden podcast a lot lately. He used to be a rapper and now he does podcasts. And at the beginning of each one, he has like a guy who runs the show for him, and he just says, "Where we at?" And then someone was telling the number. All right, we're on episode whatever, and then he just goes. But it's like you just show up, you don't even know what episode it is. Ask that man; it's his job to tell you. I'm trying to get to that level.
We're gonna have to hire somebody to do that because right now it's just you and me, and I can't count too good.
No, you can't. Well,
there she goes, the little rapscallion.
Yeah, for the audio people, there's Sapphire again making a presence, making her presence known.
Her butthole known. It's something about Carolina dogs. So people don't know, Sapphire's a Carolina dog, and they walk and do pretty much everything with their tail up, and their tail has a little like hook on it, but it never touches their lower back. So it always looks like she's excited no matter what she's doing. When in reality, that's just naturally her pose for their tail. So you just get a straight on look right onto that butthole.
Patch
right
notes.
Soft opening.
Episode 38 soft opening. Yep. All right. Cool. So we got that out of the way. All the butthole jokes. Good.
How's it going, man? What's going on? What's new? What's happening?
Nothing. I've been putting together some furniture. I put together some vinyl cubbies so I can finally store my record collection. I don't have a record player here. I have a record player at my mom's house, but I don't want to bring it. So I'd rather just, because it's like an entry level, and I'm at this point where I want to upgrade to
See how it is.
a fancier one. So I'll leave the old one at my mom's just in case, because she has some records that maybe she'll play one of these days. I don't know. But yeah, putting together furniture. It's been pretty fun. Been playing a bunch of video games. Been playing that SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated.
Are you for real? Have you actually been playing that?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah. I played it, I vaguely remember playing it when it was new on PS2 or GameCube or whatever it was. And I liked it. I never beat it or whatever. I just rented it from Blockbuster.
That's dating us right there.
Just yeah, I mean, we're not 12, but...
No. There was a store when I was at Singapore. This is like last year, so I didn't recently go to Singapore for quarantine and stuff. But yeah, there's a store that just sold vinyls and really expensive record players. And one day I want to take you there just so you can buy just a $1,500 record player.
There's actually... do you know the brand of that record player by chance?
No, it was too long ago. There's no way I remember.
All right. Do you remember the name of the store?
No, I was a tourist. Every store there was
store
in Singapore. Yeah. when you're in a foreign country, every store you see is like, oh, there's that cool store in this foreign country. And it was like, oh, it's a Best Buy. It's nothing cool. It was definitely not a Best Buy, but I don't know what it was called.
Yeah, there's a store called Turntable Lab. I think they have physical stores, but they're mostly an online thing. But they are kind of like that. I've been looking at turntables on that. But yeah, anyway, been looking for turntables because I need to have like my full record set up here. Getting a couch tomorrow. So I'll be putting together a couch, which super sucks. And dressers for our clothes that are in trash bags, like I mentioned earlier. Or my clothes.
Was that recorded?
Yeah, I think it was. I recorded. Okay. Yeah, anyway, clothes are in trash bags. Zenobia's aren't, though. She's had all of her stuff together since the first week we moved in because she plans for things and cares about her space and, all that kind of stuff, and I don't. But
did Zenobia also transport her stuff in trash bags?
No, she, folded her clothes and put them in boxes, and then when we got here, she just had to take them out and put them places because they were already ready to go places.
It's so funny that Zenobia was just like, yeah, I'm going to pack cleanly and neatly. And you were like, I don't know, shove it in whatever will hold it. And then we'll put those things in other things.
Yeah. You can't really tell on the camera, but this shirt is super wrinkly because I just basically shoved it at the bottom of a box and then threw 50 pounds of clothes on top of it. So that's how I've been living for the past month or so. And I've been ignoring all that with video games. So, yeah, I don't know. I played SpongeBob. I've been doing this thing where I've been going through the unplayed games in my Steam library. Do you watch Linus Tech Tips? Or know who that is? I've
seen a couple of episodes things from. I watched his Consumer Expo clips where he showed the transparent TV and stuff. It's like I've seen some of his stuff, but I'm not a religious watcher.
Got it. Yeah, I watch most of that dude's stuff, even though I don't actually care a lot about what he's talking about. I just like him. But he has a really great video where he just goes through his Steam library and he just blasts through like 70 unplayed games, like every game he hasn't played in his library. And he's like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. I have 72 games that I've never even touched, blah, 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 over all these years. And I'm over here and I have 740 unplayed games in my Steam library. So,
It's more games than I own, period.
Yeah. So I went and started just playing through them and just being like, okay, I'll give a game 5 minutes. Because it's kind of like what I talked about before, where I wanted to beat every game to a certain point and track all my playtime throughout it. But now I'm just trying to get that unplayed number to 0. And even if it's just 5 minutes, like, this game doesn't run. This game super sucks. This game, whatever, just to take out, a lot of them.
This game doesn't run, i.e. Earth Defense Force on the wrong processor.
Yeah, something like that. Or like, anything like that, just to basically remove it from the list and say I technically played it. But my problem is every single game I like. I'm just like, oh, I can see myself playing this. There's one, it's like a multiplayer only Green Army Men shooter, like third person shooter. Like, the like green soldier toys, and there used to be.
Yeah, I love those games when I was a kid.
Yeah, they made a multiplayer shooter, third person, whatever, on Steam. And I played it with people, and it was the EU server, so I had crazy high ping, but the game was super fun. And I just got kind of like bummed out because I've had these games for years in some cases, and I'm just like, I could be playing games. Like, what am I doing? Why do I have 740 unplayed games? What is wrong with me? You know what I mean? So I'm trying to just blast through all these things. SpongeBob's pretty cool. I played another one called Startup Company where it's huge.
I love Startup Company.
Oh, you've played it?
Yeah.
Okay, then what do you always? I've just made game companies that fail. What's your thing?
I made a social media company that was killing the game, and then I was like, here's what we got to do. We got to start our own server room. And that was a mistake because it turns out running your own servers is incredibly expensive, and I did not have the personnel for it. So very quickly I went from having like good uptime or whatever to just being like, this is gonna die. It's all burning down. What do I do? But I also played it like when it was super early beta. Like I got in on there really early on the train there.
Yeah, I played like the career or story mode, and they told me to buy a server room, but it was only after I had the sysadmin because I'm making a game company, which makes it weird for me because the features are all like website. Mm-hmm. They're not game features. So it's like item listing and video content. Yeah, that's like websites.
Will you add a loading screen? Will you add a landing page? It's like, what? My game? No.
Yeah. Yeah, so that stuff is kind of janky. It feels like gaming company wasn't really a primary like thing in their design.
No, I wasn't even in there when I played. It was like you had social media or a video streaming service or...
There's dating app too.
There wasn't even a dating app when I was there. There's one more, but I don't remember what it was.
No.
But yeah, social media was like the go-to when I was playing it.
Yeah.
Do you like it?
I do. I mean, that's kind of the kind of game that I used to love as a like a 12-year-old, just because it's watching the numbers go up. Kind of the reason I like clickers. It's just that. I mean, it's not super fun, and I don't think. I don't know. I run it. Sometimes I have like managerial vibe of like, I hate my employees and I need them to just do the numbers, like get the numbers up, and I don't want you to talk. So like the senior devs will have this line where they're just like, it's not our code. The CEO is just too cheap to install more servers. And whenever I see that, I fire them. And I'm just like, okay, well, because why are they criticizing me out in the office? You know, this is not acceptable.
Wow, they added a lot to that game since I last played it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I should play it again.
But I still have like over 700 games, so maybe my goal will be like 50 a week. Just blast through 50 a week and just have something. So maybe in, 3-4 months, I'll be able to say I have 0 unplayed games, because a lot of them are just.
It'll take you 7 months.
No, if I do 50 a week.
Oh, 50 a week. My bad. I thought you were going to say 50 a month.
No, that'd be more reasonable. But I think I just need to be strict with the timing thing. But there's so many where it's just like, like Half-Life Source, for example. I'll never play that game because I played Black Mesa recently, and Half-Life Source has a reputation for being like pretty trash. So I'll start it and be like, "Yep, that's exactly what I think it is," and then turn it off. But just to get that number down because I'm a weirdo. Yeah.
Well, if you ever want to play one of the 8-Bit Armies games, you know,
once I get good, see, that's the thing. I think I'll get good at that type of game eventually, and then I'll want to play with you again. But I'm not ready yet.
You can try to get good and beat me, but you won't.
You can play Gears with me, dude. I've been playing so much Gears.
See, the thing is that when we play Gears, I really enjoy it, but I can't play shooters for very long. Just mentally, I'm not super into shooters, unfortunately.
I'm ridiculously good at Gears of War 5. Just want to throw that out there. Yeah. I hit Onyx 3, which is like the last one before Diamond or whatever ranking. And
what's the highest ranking in that game?
I don't know. I think there might be 1 or 2 above Onyx.
Wow.
But anyway, that game is cool, and it's like something that makes me feel good about myself, like just actually beating people.
I'll play it with you. I'd be down to play.
I just sometimes I'll have these like personal vendettas. You're familiar with like executions in Gears of War, right?
Mm-hmm.
For people who don't know, it's like a fatality type thing. On a downed enemy, you can go up and you have to do something specific. Hold down the B button, and you do like a flashy kill. And the flashy kill is dependent on what flashy kill you currently have selected for that weapon that you're holding. But they're always gruesome. They're always like a slap in the face to whoever you killed. Mm-hmm. So whenever someone does one of those to me, I never do those to people. I think they're like disrespectful. It's like actually a personal attack to me. I hate that. Or when they do the thing when you're down and then they hump you, where they just like go back and forth in your mouth or whatever. I hate that. So anyway, when people do these kind of things, I just try really hard to kill them and do the same thing to them every time until they quit. And it's never like words. They don't even know I'm doing this. I just decide to bully them until they quit the game. And it's really, really rewarding. It's given me a lot of joy over the past month or so. Just making like knowing in my head that at one point someone had the confidence to like hump my down body, and then within 30 minutes they quit the game because they weren't winning anymore. That's my favorite.
The fact that you can do that is incredibly impressive.
I have a lot of anger in me. I can direct it in a lot of productive ways, you know?
I mean, just the fact that, like, in a competitive game that's kind of, you know, like, fast-paced and, like, chaotic, like Gears, right? Because, I mean, that's just, like, a bunch of people running around gunning each other. There's, like, explosions and gunshots all over the place. And you single out one person who messed with you a time, and you just, like, die.
It's kind of
Quit this game. Uninstall.
Yeah. Like how I became a direct target of terrorism when you decided to go against me in 8-Bit Armies. You were like, I'm going to end this man's whole career. I'm going to ruin his day. I'm going to make sure that he doesn't like this game that he just showed me because he likes so much. And then I uninstalled and never played it again.
I didn't mean to do that to you. We were like, oh, we can play against each other. And it happens that I'm very good at strategy games. That's my number one game. I love strategy games. I'm very good at them, and I put a lot of time into them. And when you played me, you'd only played against bots. And you played against me, and the first thing happens, like, I just choked you out of the game. Like, you didn't even get a chance to play the first round. Like, the very first round, you could barely get any resources because I kept, like, penning you in. God, I'm an asshole, aren't I? It's like, my best friend showed me a game. I'm gonna dick him completely.
And the sad thing is, I love that kind of game. Like, I love RTS games. I just don't play them because every time I think of playing one, I think of that time you ruined 8-Bit Armies for me. So I probably shouldn't even start because there's no point, you know?
We should play some strategy games together because there's like some really fun ones that we don't have to necessarily like play against each other. We play like with each other until we get comfortable.
I don't know if I
had the opposite experience. I used to play StarCraft 2 with people, and one of the people I played with, he wasn't very good at the game, but he kept telling me he was good at the game, and so I played with him. And basically, his strategy was that Yazeed will fight 2v1 until approximately like 25 minutes into the game, at which point I'll win us the game. So if I could last approximately 25 minutes in a 2v1, we'd win, and if I couldn't, we'd lose. And that just drained me emotionally, so I stopped playing StarCraft 2, despite hitting gold a couple of times in that game. So
I've always wanted to get into StarCraft or just Blizzard games in general. I know people talk about the polish of Blizzard games, and I just never got into them. Even like WoW, I played for maybe a month on my friend's account, and I just never got into it.
Speaking of WoW, guess you just got back into Classic.
Nice. Is it because of Zach? You've been playing with Zach?
Zach can't play Classic. He can't level. Zach's leveled, I think, exactly one character, hated it, and now he just plays characters that are already leveled up. Because you like eventually get level boosts and stuff like that. So he'll just boost up a character and he'll play those characters. I'm just playing Classic by myself at this point. I think it started when I was playing Minecraft. So I was playing Minecraft in hardcore mode. And the way I play Minecraft is just to meander around the world, which works really well in like lower difficulty settings, but in hardcore it's awful. You die so frequently because you're just like, well, I need iron, so I need to like go into this cave, but I don't have armor and I have like a stone sword, and you just get killed because you have nothing. So you're just like, okay. And then eventually you get to like a good spot, and then you'll accidentally fall off the edge of a mountain and die. It's just like, cool. So it's like, all right, I want to play a game that's easier, that doesn't require as much. So I'm playing Classic WoW with my character again. I think what my goal is with it is to play for a month, and however like far I've progressed, that's fine, because I just bought a 1 month subscription. And then eventually I'll probably like do another month, and I'll like eventually do another month until I finally hit 60. And then if they go to Burning Crusade, which ups the max level to 70, I'll just do that some more.
Do you so they talk about WoW Classic. I mean, okay, here's my understanding of World of Warcraft. Tell me where you can fill in the gaps or where I'm wrong.
Okay.
World of Warcraft. People like it. Burning Crusade. People like it, ups the level cap. Then it was Wrath of the Lich King?
Yeah.
People liked that, but not as much or something?
That was the most popular expansion.
Okay.
And like by far the most liked one.
And then there was something, but anyway, Cataclysm is the one that people were like, this, I don't like this.
That was the one right after Wrath, actually.
Okay. And it changed, it took away something from the original game where the other ones didn't. I guess that's where I'm fuzzy.
Yeah. Okay, so like the first one gives you like the base 2 continents, right? Right, that's just vanilla World of Warcraft. Then Burning Crusade adds Outland, which is basically like a third continent on another planet. And then Wrath of the Lich King adds a 4th continent, which is Northrend. It has like a ton of story built into it. It's like everyone's favorite expansion. Everyone loves it. It's the most fun by far. And then in Cataclysm, they're like, you know what we should do? People have been playing the same early levels too much. We should change all the starting zones. And they basically just like redid the first 2 continents completely. And people were like, hold on. Like, I have very fond memories of some of those starting zones. They're like, shh, don't worry about it. You're going to have new fond memories. It's like, but these aren't as fun. They're like, shh, it's fine.
What do you think of that? Do you think, like...
I mean, I played through all of that, and it was cool. Cataclysm was very fun for me for, like, the first month and a half that it was out. Like, just leveling through, like, the new zones that they added and stuff was cool. And then, like, playing the dungeons and stuff and, like, grinding on, like, the very cutting edge was really fun because everyone was figuring it out together. But very quickly with World of Warcraft, things stopped being fun. Because, like, people just find the most optimal route from just playing it over and over and over again. And then if you ever deviate or mess up, they're just, like, they just are like, why are you so stupid? Like, why are you incompetent? And it stops being, like, a real challenge to play it and more like, can you just follow this cookie cutter thing? So, like, after that, it wasn't super fun. And the first raid came out, and that was cool, but my guild wasn't good, so we didn't progress, and then I ended up stopping. And then Mists of Pandaria is the next one, which Zach started on it, and he keeps telling me it's the best expansion. I'm like, you literally missed the best parts of World of Warcraft. Like, he's playing in like the shadow of the glory of Wrath of the Lich King, trying to tell me that Miss is a good expansion. And then I don't know what any of the other ones. When I went to BlizzCon, I got to beta Shadowlands, which is the newest one that hasn't dropped yet. And I literally had no idea what was going on. Like, the abilities that they give you, I was like, I don't know what any of this is. It's just too much for me.
Yeah. I don't know. I love the idea of getting into WoW. I don't ever see it happening in my life. So I kind of just like to hear about people who are into WoW.
I think that you would like Classic if you played with like people you know. Sorry, one second, I want to clear my throat.
We need a cough
especially
button.
Especially like people who aren't min-maxers. Like, I'm not a min-max. I'm literally leveling with the worst spec to level in because I want to. And I'm just having fun with it. I think you would enjoy that too. But it is like a slog, and like, I'm level 34, and this is probably like, I played with my brother, and now I'm playing alone, and it's just,
Yeah.
It's fun. I like it though.
Nice. What was I gonna say? Oh, that seems like a podcast or music game. Like, I wouldn't be actively engaged in it all the time. I would have something else happening.
Yeah, at a certain point, you just kind of like zone out, and then you zone in when you've died, and you respawn, and you die, and you respawn, and you die, and you're just like, okay, I have to like figure out what's going wrong with this. This pattern is not ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Speaking of games to zone out to, that SpongeBob game, I forgot to mention, it's basically just like Banjo-Kazooie or Crash Bandicoot or whatever. And so you collect, they're literally just called shiny objects. It's like, we don't care, you know? Like, just pick up those things. You can collect socks, you can collect underwear, you can collect golden spatulas, you can collect golden whatever. Oh my god, I forgot about one game I have to tell you about. That's amazing. Anyway, SpongeBob's cool. It's a fine game. All the voice actors are the same except for Mr. Krabs, and he sounds really strange, and it throws me off. But it's a cool, funny, good, cute thing that references a lot of the old show stuff. The game that I played this past week that made me very excited, more than any other game I played this past week, was called Barn Finders. Okay. Have you ever seen the show Storage Wars?
That's one where they go into like people's old storage sites and look for like antique stuff, yeah?
Yeah. Okay. So Storage Wars, yes, you're right. They bid on these storage units, and then they can't see what's in them. And then basically they just hope for the best that the stuff in that storage unit will give them a profit. So Barn Finders is this game where it's a first-person thing. You're like a redneck something dude. And it's not like they literally call him a redneck in the game. I'm not. Whatever. Might be his name. It might be like Redneck Billy or something. Anyway, first person thing, you own this store, and there are jobs available for you to go and explore these barns and try to find things in the barn that are antiques or maybe have value or whatever. And you bring them back to your pawn shop and you sell them and you haggle with people and all that kind of stuff. And then you bring in money so you can make your pawn shop look nicer. You can add more shelves. You can add more space. You can add more this type of stuff. And the jobs will be like, hey, I heard there's this, fancy gold deer head in this barn. So you go to the barn and you find the deer head and you sell the thing that this customer was specifically looking for. But all the other stuff you found in the barn, you just sell. And then you can go to storage auctions and you can buy stuff, right? With the money that you made from exploring barns, you can go and basically bid on these storage units and do the whole thing. And then there's like the not fun of literally taking things out of the back of the truck and putting them in the store, and sometimes cleaning them manually because they're not ready to be on the shelf yet because there's dirt on them. And it's like not a game, but I love it. You know what I mean? I love it.
What's the difference between playing that game and just doing that in real life for you then?
So Zenobia asked me the same question. Why don't I do this in real life if I get the enjoyment out of it? It's because in real life, if I take the time to drive to a barn and then I have to do the effort of like going through the barn and the labor and the time and the whatever. In the end, I'm basically saying that I need to become a pawn shop owner, but I don't want to do that with my life. I just want to get the kind of vibe, the kind of gist of doing it. Playing Diner Dash, I have fun being a server for 30 minutes, but I don't want to be a server for my whole life. But I like the kind of task-oriented system thing of doing Diner Dash, you know?
Okay, I got you.
I like seeing the numbers go up, is my thing.
Is it like a random like, is it like from a random spreadsheet? Like, do you know all possible items you could find, or is it legitimately just like Wild West? Like, there's no full list.
That's a good question. So the one, I've only played it for like an hour, but in the beginning, it was like, hey, here's this thing in this barn. Go to the barn. I cleared the barn. I found everything there. And then it says, when you come back to this barn, there will be different stuff randomly placed. So yeah, it has like some sort of random seed or whatever it's using to generate the placement of stuff. But there's no real challenge beyond overspending your money, anything like that. You're just going through, and it's kind of like a puzzle, you know. Some parts of the barn are like locked off, and so you could find creative ways to like jump onto different things. But anyway, it's like barely a game, but I love it. I had more fun playing that than I had, played like a lot of other games this past week.
This is a game that you might enjoy, and I don't remember what it's called, but basically you like fix cars, like you buy
Auto Mechanic Simulator.
Yeah,
I have that game.
Do you play it?
I tried it and I got overwhelmed with the complexity of the menus, so I stopped playing it.
I think I'd get overwhelmed by the complexity of everything about that game.
Yeah. It's like
I don't understand how cars work.
Same.
I'm like a fundamental level. I know it's tiny explosions, but that's it.
Like I couldn't change my oil if you put a gun to my head. I have no idea.
Oh really? I can do that. No idea. That's easy.
Yeah.
It's way easier than you think it is. I think you hyped it up too much.
Probably, but I still probably couldn't do it.
You can't 100%. I could show you in like an hour.
Yeah, but I probably. You know what I mean?
I'll teach you. When quarantine ends, I'll teach you. It's super easy. I hate doing it, but it's easy.
All right. But then you got to like dispose of oil, right? I'd rather have someone who knows what they're doing to do that.
Yeah, it's part of the reason. You can just take most auto shops have like an oil disposal area where they'll take your used oil and they'll do whatever with it.
So you're telling me
get some money for recycling it.
So you're telling me instead of going to a place where they can just change my oil in like an hour, I have to go to an auto shop, buy oil, go home, change my oil, and then go back to the auto shop to drop off my old oil?
Oh, you have to buy an oil filter as well. You can't just buy oil.
This is ridiculous. I can't do this.
And then also you probably want to have like extra shampoo or something laying around, because shampoo is a great degreaser in a way that most other things are not. Or if you've used like dish soap, that works as well. It's like wash your hands afterwards, because you're like, no matter what, you're gonna get oil on you.
Yeah. What if I just don't? What if I just take it to like the big O,
Oh yeah, that's what I do. I don't do it anymore. My grandfather was like, Yazeed, listen to me. You need to know a couple of things about cars. He didn't actually say any of this. He was just one day like, Yazeed, come on, we're going to go change oil. And I was like, but I don't know how to change oil. And he was like, I don't care. I learned how to change oil that day. And then later on, he was like, we have to change brakes. And I was like, I don't like working on cars. And he's like, you got to learn how to change brakes. Yeah. And that was how I learned how to change brakes.
That's useful, though. It's like, I'm gonna
How often have you ever been in a situation in an emergency where you had to change oil right then and there?
Even if it's one time ever in your life, that's gonna pay off.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I'm not complaining about knowing it. I am complaining about the amount of times I've had to do it. I hate working on cars.
Yeah.
You never end working on cars clean. You end working on cars like greasy, sweaty, and a little bit sore.
That's like part of the thing though, right? It's like, oh, I really did work today. You could see because my body is all gross now.
Yeah, it's like that like meme of like his hands look like this so that her hands could look like that. And it's just always, your hands always look like you just dunked them in like a pool of black tar. It's like cool. It's great.
All right. Do you want to talk about obedience school?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so a while ago, you asked me what is the end result of obedience school. And I was like, they just know the commands. That's not true. I didn't know this going into this. But this school is apparently, like, on some, like, not registry, but they're, like, a part of some, like, training program. And so there's actually a test, and if you pass the test, you get like you get your dog certified that it follows basic obedience commands from this like governing obedience school body. So I didn't know that. So this Sunday I have an exam with Sapphire, and I'm actually super nervous for it. Not that I don't think Sapphire can do it, but the words exam, like test, exam, and homework really like trigger something primal, like some primal fear in me now.
Yeah. The trauma from high school that is implanted in our brains.
High school and college, oh, you got your midterms coming up. It's like, oh, cool. It's only like 75% of my grade.
Yeah. So is that like a dog show where it's like, hey, I'm gonna run alongside my dog and they're gonna do this, and then maybe I'll tell them to sit down or something.
So they do a agility school where you would run an agility course as your exam. Like your dog would run an agility course and you'd have to like be there, like exactly like how a dog show does the agility course. But this one is one at a time. You will take your exams. Like normally our classes have like 6 people, but like one at a time they just like take you into the other room. And they're like perform these commands, and if you're good, then you're good. And if you don't, then you can like they'll like shuffle things around and like you can get a couple of tries in, but like ultimately like you have to meet certain criteria.
So it's like sit, stay.
Sit,
drop, whatever.
It's sit down, watch me, which is just to make eye contact. Stand, which is from like a sitting or down position to stand. Stay, both standing, sitting, and laying. A recall commands like come, so they come to you. Leave it, so if I drop something, they should leave it. And then a loose leash walk or a heel walk, which is just to walk by your side gently, not pulling real crazy like. And slipping their collar and chasing a javelina or something.
Does she know how to do all that stuff?
Yeah, she's actually quite good at it, and we practice every day. I'm just nervous because
of course you are.
Yeah. I'm just nervous because I put quite a. It's not like this is not like super cheap to do this, and I don't want to fail. But I also know that I can't like put pressure on her in the same way I would put pressure on myself to succeed.
Yeah, she can't even know it's a test.
Yeah, she doesn't know it's an exam, and also she's a dog and doesn't like. I imagine like your owner putting a ton of stress on you is not great.
Yeah, no.
Not in the same way of like you put pressure on yourself when it's college and you got midterms coming up and you're like,
yeah.
You're like, my whole future depends on this. She's a dog. Her whole future does not depend on getting obedience certified. Yeah. Her whole future depends on drinking water, eating food, and sleeping regularly.
Yeah. Sounds nice. Sapphire doesn't have to worry about crying, drinking Red Bull at 2 a.m. for a physics exam.
That sounds a little bit suspiciously specific, Joseph.
God. Yeah. Anyway, enough about me crying in physics. My last thing is, so I got tested for the Rona, on Saturday. I had been in contact with somebody who may have been. Anyway, it was a whole thing, but I got tested. And tell me what you think the coronavirus testing process is like. If I tell you that it's a drive-up process and you gotta need an appointment for it.
Is this the one where they're testing if you have it currently, or is it the one that would? If this,
it's not
my
the
brother
antibody
did this
test.
I'm actually
damn it. Okay.
Because I know the exact thing. Go ahead and explain.
So we went to the CVS and it was a drive-through pharmacy, whatever thing. And when I just saw that, I was thinking that there would be a person, like being maybe fully like hazmat suited up, giving me things and doing the test for me because I have no clue what to do. But no, they just give you a little bag and they're like, yeah, shove this thing into your brain and leave it there for like 30 seconds. And so I did that, but it causes me to sneeze. So I was just in my car and then trying to shove this thing up my nose, not getting it all the way, and sneezing, having to pull it out. And then I did this 3 times. I felt like a total clown because I was just by myself, just sneezing like violently, trying to shove this thing into my face. And I didn't even know if I did it right in the end because I couldn't get that last little, like that little much because it hurt to put into your nose,
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
And so I didn't know if I did it right or whatever, but I got results back on a phone app that I had to download, which is like, if I put on my tinfoil hat for a little bit, that's really strange that I need to download a phone app that associates with my Apple ID to like get my test results. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's some like boring dystopia type
I
stuff.
really don't like that, because especially it's like, what if it's negative, by the way, but what if it was a positive result, and then it's like, oh, well, we're just tracking your location, no big deal, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's for the best, but like, I don't like that. Anyway, just wanted to share my experience there. Got tested. It's negative. Wasn't expecting that whole weird thing. She also didn't tell me how to do it, by the way. So there was like a little paper. You know how kind of when you go to like a convenience store and they have a sign that says like nothing above $20 bills, and the paper was put up in like the 1400s and it's all falling apart and stuff.
It's like stained yellow, cracked,
yes,
like flat, like plastic over it.
Yeah. It's been re-laminated like 6 times and it's still that whole thing. And it was like that in the window of the CVS, and it was just super small print saying how to do it, and I kind of half read it and I kind of half knew what to do. But the lady just gave me a bag and was like, yeah, just do the test. And it seems like you would probably need to give the average person, because I'm not like the smartest guy, but I'm not a stupid person, you know, but I still had no clue what to do with the bag that she gave me. So I imagine that most people probably aren't doing the test right.
Probably not. I mean, listen, I've not gotten corona tested, but I have gotten the flu test, which is similar, where they shove the thing up your nose. There's no way in hell that if they gave it to me, I would do it myself.
Yeah.
I'd be like, no, I can't. I've been through the experience of it, and I hate it. Hurts in a way that doesn't feel correct. Like, pain is one thing, but that pain is like internal to your, like, way deep in your, like, deeper in your body than you want it to be.
You're feeling something in a place that you didn't know you could feel. And so you kind of like, and I wouldn't even say it hurts. Yeah, it's like, just super uncomfortable.
It hurts when somebody else does it, because they're less gentle than you are. They're just like, all right, now look up at the ceiling. All right, and and like, don't move too much. And you're just like,
yeah.
They're like, good to go. They pull it out like they're starting a lawnmower now.
But yeah, that experience was weird. But glad we did it.
I'm glad it's negative, bud.
Same. I'm curious. Anyway, the whole thing. Every time I like think about coronavirus stuff, it just confuses me, because it's like all the information that's available seems to just be so all over the place that you have no clue like how contagious it is, how deadly it is, how anything. So it's kind of, I don't know, big question mark. Hopefully in like a year or so we'll have like way better answers of all the stuff that we don't know now. But anyway,
what's going to be crazy in like a couple of years when they study this and they put out reports and most people don't care or remember, if the people who do care or remember are going to read the reports and be like, Jesus, we're stupid.
I think
the ultimate outcome is to be like, man, if only people could just stay inside for 2 weeks. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I think these past 4 months have been some of the most like mentally traumatic. It's probably like, as a communal experience, like the entire world at one point going through trauma in some way, of like the stress and the anxiety, and like just like out of nowhere, like the whole world is in this whole different mode. And like, I don't know. I just think, my point is, I don't think in 2 years anyone will have forgotten this. It'll be something that we remember. It's like forever changing.
I think people would for sure remember it. I think people wouldn't care to read like an analytical report on coronavirus. I think people will wait for like a Cliff Notes version that maybe gets stuff wrong.
Maybe. Oh yeah. I mean, it's kind of like how no one actually reads the scientific reports that they then go and praise as being like whatever. Yeah, they're just like, oh, I believe in science. It's like, explain to me the report, and no one has any clue, because you just want to read the smart guy saying that it's smart. You know, like, smart guy says science good.
Title, but then some people complain that it's clickbait, and you're just like, well, it's clickbait. And you're just like, well,
guys, they cured cancer 14 times just this week. I don't know what you guys are talking about. You know, like, there's no problems.
Did you know grapefruits cure cancer in koalas? But they don't say the koalas part. It's just grapefruits cure cancer.
Yeah. We did it, Reddit.
We did it.
Yeah. Is it home game stuff time?
It's ready for home game stuff. You want to get started?
Yeah. So thank goodness I did a bunch of work finally and put up a pull request that is too large. It's 3,100 lines of new code in total, and that's across Home Games Web, Home Games, and Squisher. So just to kind of summarize the state of everything, all the system stuff I added, the animations, the effects, the kind of underlying new game node classes and helper util functions, all that stuff is in there. I rewrote every game and got it, or not rewrote, but just the game node calls in every game, except for Slaps, because Slaps was never finished, so I didn't want to finish the game as a part of this. And then the word match game, I just never finished that. That was the last one. But everything else, including Squarer, I updated. And so in Squarer, you have your own custom handle collisions function, which I was planning last night to not fix that because you still have the node.pause and node.size instead of referring to its overall coordinates. So I was thinking I just wouldn't do that and would leave it for a future thing, but I ended up converting like node pause x and node pause y. I can calculate from the coordinates, so I just did that, and then your anyway, Square works now. I tested it earlier and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a ton of changes, and if you were to take it and say like this is the branch I can play every game on, it's kind of that. It is like I said, except for those other two games, I removed some as well. And there's band-aids in there. Like I think one game specifically, it's the input test. So the input test has to obviously get input. And so when an input is a new asset, like an image or something, it has to update its asset bundle. And that asset bundle initialization stuff is in the squisher, or in the session. It's in the session. So basically the input test has a hack to know that it has a session, like a session object where it has this initialize method, and then like basically re-initialize asset bundle and then send out the update to everybody else so they can get this new asset. So there's little band-aids like that, little hacks like that I wanted to remove, but like I said several times before, I just needed to cut this off at a certain point, and I can't fix every single thing because otherwise it's another week where I'm just like, yeah, still working on updating everything. So basically that's where that's at, and it mostly works. I probably need to do another PR after all this stuff of just cleanup of making like something like slaps finish and word match to be done, and other things like that, updating screenshots and stuff like that. And I have to rebase all the squisher changes on your squisher changes or squish changes, but basically did a ton of stuff, and finally it's available to because so your stuff in master that we merged weeks ago, I never rebased on top of, so I need to go and rebase on that, and then the whole thing.
Okay, I got you. All right, well, I mean, it looks like I know what I'm doing next week. Just reviewing PR. It's all good, man. Yeah. I'm glad that you got it out, though. I mean, that's a ton of cool changes. Thanks for addressing this stuff for Squisher as well. Squisher, Square as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was surprised. It was actually a really cool feeling because I know that you told me, and I even reviewed the Square code when you originally did it, but going back to it and being like, you used this library, this kind of collection of crazy things that I made, and without a whole lot of guidance, you built this fully functional game that, looks simple or whatever, but it works, and it's like 230 lines of code. That's amazing. It's like, holy shit.
It's duplicate for sure. Like you said, like the collision stuff, I probably should have offloaded a long time ago. Plus, like just looking through recently when I was just doing other stuff, I realized that you have a player array built into home games.
Stop players. Yeah.
I didn't know that, so I do all that myself.
Oh, yeah.
As well. Like, there's a ton of duplicate code that home games automatically handles for you that I didn't know, so I just wrote it myself.
I think we're in that little thing right now where there are systems that exist, but there's no way to know they exist. So I need to make them we need to make them more standardized and consistent and like obvious that they're a home games thing. Something like the HG root, for example, is a step in that direction. And then documenting it so people know that you don't have to manage. Huh?
The HG root is a what?
Is a step in that direction.
Oh my god, that's not what I heard you say.
What'd you think I said?
I something about an erection. I was like, I don't know that word. I don't know what you're talking about in code language. I don't know. It's like a new concept that I don't know. Something erection something. I was like, what is he talking about?
I want to make erection a code thing. Kind of like you can call a building an erection technically. You know what I mean?
Like in the process of building something, you're erecting a building.
Yeah. Or but once it's there, it's an erection.
I've never heard anyone call it that, but you could do that.
Let's start just saying erection in casual conversation.
This feels too similar to when you walked up to somebody who I thought was a random person at who goes to like our high school, and you were just like, I have an erection, but he was he was a friend of yours.
Yeah.
And I left you. I was like, this dumbass gonna get killed. I'm leaving him.
That was when I knew that if I ever got into a fight with anybody, I wouldn't have your support or JC's. You guys would just leave me.
Listen. I told other people this. I'm not a frontline supporter. I'm a back end supporter. You know, like I'm not gonna take a punch for somebody. I'll be there when you do get punched, though, and I'll make sure you get a hospital bill and everything.
A hospital bill? You just make sure that I get charged for it. You don't care.
Make sure you get to the hospital and you get charged for it and everything.
Thanks, bud.
Like, who is this man? His name is. This is his social security number. Here's his phone number. Here's his fiance's number. I'll see you later.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. It's some support at least.
I'm no good in a fight. Don't worry.
But yeah, my last thing is I just wanted to work on a game. I had kind of a game idea, but so Oregon Trail. I was going through my boxes and cleaning a bunch of stuff, and I found my old CD for Oregon Trail, and I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if there was a multiplayer version of Oregon Trail, where because Oregon Trail you do have different characters, different people, they all have names, and you can die of dysentery or whatever. But maybe if you took that kind of concept and you gave everybody a role, so you say like Yazeed's a hunter, Sanofia's a gatherer, whatever, right? Like people have different kind of roles, and your whole goal is to get to a point, right, with all your supplies and with all your whatever. But basically making, in a way, kind of like a Mario Party type board of just some sort of thing and then challenges along the way and something whatever, but it's more of a team-based thing. There's no competitive or competition between in just us. So I was thinking it kind of just like this is in a very general way of building a game where the people who join the session are kind of like this unit, and they can join and drop out in kind of different things, and the unit can still kind of work and scale towards like make it still a fun game even when there's no one really, you know, like you don't have enough people or whatever. And then it would be cool, this is like maybe way future stuff, but if I have kind of my home games instance and we are a unit, we are a team, and you have a home games instance and you're a unit and you're a team, maybe you're running on the same server, maybe you're not, maybe you're like a whole other thing just running the same game, but having a competition between home games instances, like a kind of meta above the session, which I think requires a lot of stuff that I can't even think about right now, because you need to have some sort of, like I said, you need to have something above everything that we have now.
Like above the instance of home games.
Yes, yeah. And above homegames.link, like a more fleshed out thing of homegames.link, which contains some sort of shared.
Like make home games link, like homegame.hub, basically.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, then the Oregon Trail thing, and then it just got me thinking, like, how is that fun? How do I make that good? And then it's kind of this whole thing of what we wanted to talk about for a while now, which is what makes a game good. Like on a philosophical level, why don't I like this idea that I'm bringing up? Like, what is the thing in my head that's making me think it wouldn't be fun? Like trying to dig into that, you know what I mean? But it's really hard to do because fun is such one of those things where you're like, what do you mean? I can't describe why I like Barn Finders. It's so not fun, but I think it's really fun.
Yeah.
You know? Or like House Flipper, that game I talked about a few months ago. Same kind of idea. It's just watching the numbers go up and doing like menial tasks. I don't know.
I mean, I still would love to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I think it's kind of interesting that on like a meta level, we're following the path of games being designed as we go along, like Frogger, then to like a Mario game, and then as we move on. Like, I think that I think it's interesting that although we're like making a game system and games, we're like unintentionally, more intentionally following like the exact route that game developers took to get from like Pong basically to to Call of Duty or whatever you think the most high tech game is right now.
Yeah,
I guess like The Last of Us 2 since the most recently launched game or whatever.
Yeah. In a few years, we'll have the Unreal Engine 5 running within home games. You know, we'll have the full extent of today's technology available to us in JavaScript.
That'd be pretty sick. That'd be pretty funny, and I think that a lot of nerds on Reddit would be very upset.
Yeah, they don't like JavaScript on Reddit.com.
They like and hate JavaScript in equal measure at the same time.
See, I just love JavaScript. Like it's definitely annoying, but I think I don't get the hate for JS. It's a great language.
I think from what I understand, the hate is that they're like JavaScript was written for a very specific thing, and this is not that thing. And it's just like, well, that's really unfortunate because C was also written for a very specific thing, and half the things it's used for is not that specific thing. So. Yeah,
like I don't know. The intention of a tool is not the only thing you can use that tool for.
It's like a hammer. It's like people are arguing like don't use a hammer to do. I don't know. I actually don't really know what you wouldn't use a hammer for. Hammers are pretty ubiquitous.
Yeah, I don't know.
JavaScript's also pretty ubiquitous.
Yeah, like don't use a hammer to put a screw in or whatever. It's like, yeah, sure, you're probably right, but also like if I can get it to work, I can get it to work. Who are you?
Hammer goes bam bam. Just with enough applied force, you can get it to work.
Yeah. But yeah, did you want to talk about your CI stuff? I saw you put up.
Oh yeah. So I put out the unit test PR. I ended up pulling a ton of stuff out of there this week just because of our previous conversations. Like I think that I overshot what I was doing when I was going through and like forcing each game to have a close, and each game needed to have a handle player connect and disconnect, and just like pulling all that stuff out because like we talked about, I didn't need it. So all that stuff's gone now. PR is pretty small, I think. It includes an update to the Squish version, and like all that stuff is there. And then I looked into GitHub. I actually talked to Alex about using GitHub Actions because that's his field now. And he said it probably wouldn't be too bad. And so I actually put out a PR with GitHub Actions, and funnily enough, the first PR with it fails CI.
Yeah, I saw. I don't know what's going on, but I saw 0 of 3 and then a big red X. Like what?
Yeah.
What is that?
So I added Alex as a reviewer as well because I wanted him to take a look at it, but I think I'll probably just need to hit him up and be like, yo, dumb boy, can you look at this? Look at this. But right now, with GitHub Actions, you can pick versions of Node that it tests against. So right now I think it's 12, 13, and 14.
Okay. So
or I think 13 might be the most up to date. Anyway, the three most recent, like it's 13.x, 12.x, 11.x, for example, or whatever.
Sure.
And it tests against those three versions. But you can narrow or expand that so you can go up to higher versions or lower versions, and you can just kind of like press however you do it. But yes, that's what the 0 of 3 is. And the reason it's failing the test is because our NPM test doesn't work currently from our package.json. So in the PR, that one, not the actions PR, my unit test PR fixes NPM tests so that once that's in, I'll rerun the test and then it should work. And I included documentation there, like kind of briefly from GitHub's actions sites on like how to rerun workflows and stuff. So all that's in there. But yeah, it should give us like an early warning if things aren't passing unit tests. Then it lets us know something, at least like the very most basic functions of the games aren't working.
Awesome. That's super helpful. I'm gonna my next thing, I wanted to look into versioning, basically to allow someone to have their game define a version of Squisher or of Squish that it uses to have kind of multiple versions in the same build and then kind of use them selectively. So that seems like something that would go into this CI/CD thing that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. So I'll probably just do some investigation into what I'm trying to do and how that links into what you just did and see if we can.
I mean, it's just a YAML file, I guess, that GitHub adds in. doesn't seem like it's super complicated. I don't know all the commands that are available, but there's some stuff that I didn't know. Like there's a command called npm ci. Never knew that existed. So it's like just a bunch of little things that I was just learning and reading about to get that set up. But yeah, it's out of the box, pretty great. Like, and especially for what we're doing, amazing.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah, I think that I need to make updates to Squish again, though. So I'm not sure how I want to do this, whether my PR should go in and then your PR should go on top of that. But I think because you need to rebase anyway, I'll try to like rush a PR like within the next 2 or 3 days, probably. But basically all I want to do there is change the test runner file in there because I need to change it, and I need to change npm test. And that should be it, the only thing in there. And then I can add in another PR2 there to add actions to it as well. It's like add CI to Squish.js.
Sure. Yeah, you should put in yours first because I broke all the tests in mine, by the way. I have to rewrite all the tests because they still call the internal game node stuff. Basically, like you'll see in the code, but I converted the existing game node function to a class called internal game node. And so you real quick, I'll just kind of talk about why. So the game node function is a function, not a class, because the game node thing is it wraps the object it returns as a listenable. So it allows us to do when someone modifies a node property, then it does the tree update, so we can hear that event. And if you have a class, there's no real easy way to do that because you don't return the instance from the constructor. You can't like do some logic on yourself and then return yourself like I am with this object. So basically now there's all the other like game node.shape, game node.text, game node.whatever, and they all have properties whatever, but they also have .node. So .node is like the actual thing that you would change. So it's kind of this silly thing where now if you had previously referenced it as node in the variable, you now have node.node.thing, which silly, but I think it's a stepping point. I don't think this is what I really want in the future. It's just something that's better than what we had. So anyway, that's just that. But I forget why I'm even talking about this. Oh yeah, I busted Squish JS thing. So you should put your stuff in, and then I'll rebase on top of that because I kind of blew up away the way that stuff works.
Okay, yeah, I'll get it out. I'll get it out within the next 2 days or so. I mean, the changes to it should be pretty minor. I'm switching out the test runner file and adding changing npm test in there.
I mean, don't put pressure on yourself. I mean, I know I run startup company like a total jerk.
Yeah, apparently I can't say anything bad about you. I'll be fired. Not that I ever really say anything bad about you, but
I don't know. It's like the opposite of how I would actually do it. As an actual CEO, I would be like way too nice to everybody. But on this, it's like this person is or asking for a raise, and it's just like nah, like. They make enough already, but they make like $36,000 a year as like a senior designer or something. Anyway,
that's enough to live in Seattle. Get some roommates in your 1-bedroom apartment. Eat ramen every day. What are you doing?
God. Yeah, I don't even think. Anyway, yeah, that's not enough to live.
You need like 4 roommates.
Yeah.
You eat ramen pretty much for 1 meal a day because that's all you could afford.
Yeah, you need another job on the side.
You drink water, but only from public drinking fountains because you couldn't afford to use water.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that will not happen to you, if you...
Thank you.
I understand that you have a life.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the changes should be really small. The testrunner.js file is a copy and paste thing. It's the exact same file that I just need to move over.
Cool.
And then the npm test change is just... Currently, the way that the test runner file used to work is you had to specify files, but the change over is so you no longer have to. If you don't pass it in, it'll just grab everything in your test folder and just run it all. So just to make sure that the folder structure is similar, or like the tests are in the same location so it knows where to find them. But yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, GitHub Actions were actually like really easy to put together. I just did quite a bit of research on how they work and had a conversation with Alex about it. So yeah.
Cool. We should get him on this podcast to talk about actual home game stuff and not about dead bodies.
I wasn't there for the one that he was on. I feel like maybe I could reel him in a little bit.
That's the thing about Alex is that he's impossible to control. He will do what he does.
Yeah, you don't think you can control him. It's like I would say it's like a dog, but I'm not good at that either. It's like a cat. You just redirect. You just redirect always. When he starts going off the deep end, you're like, oh, look at the cookie. Dark Souls, Alex. Don't you like Dark Souls? Talk about that one for a little bit. Then he just starts talking about Dark Souls, and you're like, oh, good. Now we come back.
Yeah.
Now we come back. Yeah. I don't know. In my head, I can do it, right? In my head, I can do it. Even though when it's just you and me, I'm off the deep end.
Yeah, and I don't really have the ability to bring it in, so we kind of just talk about soft openings for 20 minutes. Is it time for Song of the Week?
Yeah, soft opening was definitely not a part of the 20 minutes, by the way.
Yeah, it definitely was. We talked about soft. I guarantee it is going to be the opening of this.
Oh my God. Okay.
We're going to open on soft openings. Your notes on Song of the Week are the same as last week. Oh, no, wait, no. You still have Kanye, Watch Us in the Blood.
That was your song from last week.
That was last week. My song from last week was Gucci Land by Gucci Mane.
Fudge. I didn't listen to that one.
It's all good.
Listen to Watch Us in the Blood again.
It's all good. It's still a good song. Okay, did you want to go with your Song of the Week? Or I could go.
No, I'd rather you go first because you actually listened to mine and I'm a dumb boy.
No, it's whatever. I listened to Royal and the Serpent Overwhelmed, which is the name of the song, which was your Song of the Week last week. And I liked it certainly more than I liked your Song of the Week the week before. I hated that song. When I was editing, I watched the way I talked about that song, and it seemed like I was mad at you and that song. I was not, but just I want to apologize. I wasn't. That wasn't the vibe I was going for.
You're like, how dare you send this shit to me?
Yeah, basically, it's like fuck you and this stupid song. But no, that was not the thing this week. I liked your song. It was like again, I kind of say this often, but it wasn't really my kind of music. But it had this kind of incorporation of like robotic rapping. There was like a weird little flow that she did, and her voice had this very slight effect on it, where she was just kind of just rapping a little bit. Mm-hmm. And the subject matter is very much about like social anxiety, which I get. It's about like something about I'm just looking for the exit, whatever, in like social interactions. I don't know if that was some sort of metaphor for like blowing your brains out or for not, whatever. But either way,
that one's definitely about like social anxiety. She talks about like being super overwhelmed around other people and just anxiety in general. I think. Yeah,
it was a cool song.
Nice. I really liked it more than As I Do. I'm glad it was more than As I Do. Although I don't know if I'm ever gonna give you a song that you'll like more than Everything Stays.
You probably will. I think that song just hit me right. A lot of it is like time and place. You just gotta give me the right song at the right time.
Though. Yeah. See, Everything Stays hits on like a deep level for a lot of people, especially people who like grew up, like adult-ish people. I think because it's a lullaby, and so as like an adult listening to a lullaby, it like hits a little bit different. So I don't know.
Kind of like how when shoving the Q-tip up your brain is touching a part of you didn't know could be touched, like a part of your soul that you didn't know could be spoken to.
Yeah,
hits
when
that
you were
song
a kid,
comes on.
people sing lullabies to you, and you're like, oh, blah, 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 blah. But then when like as an adult, when somebody sings a lullaby to you, you're like, I think it hits a little bit different. Especially like the subject matter, like nothing is static, like everything is changing. I think that hits as an adult more than it would hit a kid, because kids like they don't realize, they can't look back that far.
Did you listen to lullabies as a kid, like real lullabies?
I think my mom or my grandmother definitely have sung me. My grandmother definitely has sung me a few lullabies, yes.
Okay. Like the classics, like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or whatever?
Yeah, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. I think my grandmother told me my favorite was Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
That's a classic for sure.
Yeah.
That's
the one where when I was on my hike and possibly in the bear area, I hummed Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Just on repeat.
So they know that like you're there, right? Not scaring anybody.
Yeah.
Got it. My lullabies as a kid were Will Smith tapes. My mom had Will Smith cassettes where it was like Getting Jiggy with It and Summertime and all the other Will Smith clean raps, because that's like the stuff I like to listen to. So I would go to bed to Will Smith.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that's my lullaby.
That's pretty poppin'.
I want to put Fresh Prince raps in home games somehow. Anyway, my song of the week. So, Juice WRLD, as we talked about before in this podcast, I love Juice WRLD. Juice WRLD passed away in December. Horrible situation. Super sad. Giant bummer. Nothing else to describe that whole situation.
Wait, don't I like Juice WRLD?
You do. You liked Righteous.
Oh, no.
And then when I mentioned he died with... Anyway, whatever.
You never mentioned
I did. I totally did.
Oh, no.
Anyway, so his posthumous album just came out this past Friday, which is like after they died, for all the people who don't know what posthumous means. That's that word. Also, just learned how to pronounce it recently. Anyway, whole album is pretty good. There's some not great songs on there, but there's a bunch that are great. There's one called Conversations, another called Blood on My Jeans, another called Man of the Year. Man of the Year is like a pop punk song. It's kind of nuts that a rapper made that song, but it sounds great. But anyway, best song on that album is called Wishing Well. It's incredibly sad. It is especially considering just his whole life and the way he died and the fact that anyway, the whole thing. That song is incredible, but it's incredible also because it's so sad. And so Juice WRLD, Wishing Well, great song of the week. The other thing I have to mention is that Kid Cudi and Eminem put out a song this past week called...
I listened to this one, actually.
Oh, interesting. Maybe we could the song is called Adventures of Moonman and Shady or something.
Shady,
Yeah. What did you think of that song? I'm curious.
I hated it, dude. I hated it. It was not good. That song was not good.
Even the Kid Cudi rapping?
I didn't like any part of that song. I was like, I don't know. This song does not vibe with me at all. I was like, nah, dude. No.
See, I just want to say I love Kid Cudi.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I could end it right there. I love Kid Cudi.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to be a huge Eminem fan. And I still respect Eminem. I still like a lot of Eminem's older stuff. I think Eminem is an amazing rapper who makes music I don't want to hear. Right? Like,
I liked his most recent album.
The music
Some
to be
of his
murdered
songs.
by.
The one that he has like that straight... I think I liked it so much because it's the first hip-hop album that I was like there for the launch of. And like just seeing people break down like the lyrics were like, oh, you see this part where he's playing Pac-Man in his Instagram? That means it's coming from Machine Gun Kelly. And it's just like, what? Why would he do that? And it's like, oh, because Kelly has a Pac-Man tattoo on his chest or whatever. It's like, what the hell?
I saw that stuff
and like
too.
just breaking down his rap. I think that's why like I like that album so much, just because it felt like watching a puzzle getting solved.
See, I think it's funny because actually that's why I don't like Eminem anymore, because he's a great rapper. Like, he can do things that are impressive. Like, he has one line on the Kid Cudi song where it's like talking about if he was a dentist, he was doing something about dentist and basketball, and if I was on the floor, I'd swish. Like, on the floor, I'd like a basketball, whatever, but a floor I'd swish, like in your mouth. Like, technically impressive, very clever. I'm impressed that he said that. I don't want to hear that shit ever, because it doesn't sound good. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't flow in an interesting way. Like, it doesn't sound good to me. And I guess that's the thing. I don't know if it's because my taste has changed or because Eminem has changed or what. But anyway, I would summarize. I love that the Kid Cudi part of that song. I just love Kid Cudi. I love hearing him rap. He sounds like super confident. He sounds like he's just flowing effortlessly on that song. And then Eminem comes in and he's cool too, I guess. But I don't really love the song because half of it is Eminem, I guess, is my thing.
I see. I don't know. I didn't vibe with the song. I don't think it's a bad song. It's probably structurally it's good. It's just not for me. I don't think that song is definitely not something that I could listen to again. I saw it come up and I was like, Joseph's definitely gonna either like the song, it'll be a song of the week, or he'll definitely talk about it. And I was like, I'll listen to it in preparation. I wouldn't even. The thing is that I wouldn't have listened to it if we weren't doing this podcast. I would have just acknowledged that it existed and moved on.
Yeah, I'm happy it exists. I'm happy that Kid Cudi is making music at all, because it's, he doesn't do a whole lot of new music these days. And the fact that he's working with someone is legendary. Like, you can't argue Eminem is a legend in hip hop. Like, absolute, that dude. So just Kid Cudi working with him, knowing that he respects him, and all that kind of stuff is like a big moment for him. So that's cool. He was also on Lil Wayne's podcast. Kid Cudi was, and Lil Wayne basically mentioned he wanted to do a song with Kid Cudi. So I'm just happy that Kid Cudi is at this level where he's been doing this for over 10 years, and he never really got the like fame. People like, oh, he's a day and night guy, and yeah, he is a day and night guy, but he also has this whole catalog, and people who like cared to look into his catalog gave him like a lot of respect, but he never really broke through to that like hip hop GOAT status, for someone who's been in it as long as him and influenced people like he has. So the fact that now he has a song with Eminem, and he's gonna have a song with Lil Wayne, and he has like these TV shows coming out, and he doesn't seem to be trying so hard to be famous, but he has that like respect now, seems like, which I'm so happy for him. I love Kid Cudi, but song, I could take it or leave it. That song is whatever.
Is Eminem the last hip hop boy, like rap guy, to do diss tracks? Because it feels like I've never heard Kanye drop a diss track ever.
Yeah, Kanye is not the type to. He wouldn't. But if you want to hear like a good like a rap beef, Drake and Pusha T had a good one a couple years ago. It was like a huge thing for a while, and then it very much wasn't because Pusha T ended it. But
he killed Drake.
It was like basically quick recap is that Pusha T had been going at Birdman and Lil Wayne for years, starting with a song called "What Happened to That Boy" from like 2003. And I guess the dispute was Pusha T claimed that Baby, the CEO of Cash Money Records, didn't pay Pusha T or something for that song or something. And it was Pusha T and Malice, it was group and whatever. Anyway, maybe it was the two. Anyway, so this whole thing, and then Pusha T started going at Baby, Lil Wayne, and then Drake and Lil Wayne and all them are affiliated, so then he kind of was part of this whole thing, and it was over years, this whole kind of tension and little shots at each other. And then Pusha T, anyway, there was like this whole thing, but in the end of it, Pusha T revealed to the world that Drake had a secret child. And so like it was this big like holy shit moment, because it's actually revealing information about somebody as big as Drake. And it was this whole thing, and then Drake never put out a song. He never responded in a song. He had to put out a statement on his Instagram, because he also had a picture. The cover art Pusha T used for the single artwork was a picture of Drake in blackface. And so it was like this, like he had to come out and put a response to the song, but like a PR response, not like a song response. So that was like a big moment in hip hop beef and stuff, but not like it used to be. It's not like Jay-Z and Nas or Eminem and Benzino or whatever,
Is this the same beef where Drake got called out for having ghostwriters, and then so he wrote his own rap?
Well, that was
okay.
That was the one before. So Meek Mill has a song with Drake called Rico. And when Meek Mill put out the album that song is on, I guess Drake didn't tweet about the album. So Meek Mill was upset by that, and then made a tweet claiming that Drake didn't even write his own music, and then named this dude named Quentin Miller, who is supposedly the ghostwriter. And that created this whole thing, and Drake had a incredible response with one song. I kind of forget. It's called Charged Up, right? So Meek Mill made this claim. Drake made a song called Charged Up, where he was kind of just lightly alluding to the fact that Meek Mill said this, and like just basically referencing an acknowledgement of what Meek Mill said, but nothing really, really crazy. And then 2 days later, it came out with a song called Back to Back, which is like I'm not a fan of Drake the person very much, but he does make really great music, and that song is one of the best modern like diss tracks I can think of, like in the past decade. It's just really great. Like he took a diss track and he made it popular. Like it was a popular radio song. Like I heard that song at an airport 5 years ago. It was just a restaurant, and the same way that they would play like a Michael Jackson song or whatever, they were playing a Drake diss track. It's like you don't do that, in diss track. Whatever, it's not a thing. So anyway, it's kind of nuts, but for the most part, rap beef is not really a thing anymore.
I see. I got you.
Unless it's like
I never knew about the Pusha T thing. That's insane that he was just like, yeah, by the way, he has a secret child.
Yeah.
Boom, got at him, and you're just like, what the heck?
Yeah, it was a whole thing. And
how did Pusha T know that and no one else knew that?
well, that was a whole thing, and then it's like all this drama, and then Drake accused Kanye of telling Pusha T because Pusha T and Kanye are super, super close, and Drake had been working with Kanye before, and then there was all this falling out with Kanye and Drake, and so Drake was like, Kanye told Pusha T and tried to ruin my whole thing, and Pusha T was like, no, Kanye didn't tell me, it was your engineer, whose name is 40, he's like his longtime best friend who's been his engineer for forever, and apparently this dude told some girl, like just kind of loose lips, told some girl, and then the girl told Pusha T. That's what Pusha T claims. It's this whole drama. It's like this whole thing, and you know, it's whatever. You can go look it up, but that's the kind of general.
Craziest. This is like one of those things where it's like I don't watch Jersey Shore, but I like to when my brother explains to me the drama of Jersey Shore. Like yeah. I don't think I would watch a lot of the shows he watches, but when he explains it to me, it's just like, what?
Totally foreign lifestyle, like people having issues with each other over like petty bullshit. It's just I don't know. It's
not
it's
even. That's not even petty. I mean, yeah, that's like okay, they're probably beefing over something petty, but he revealed something like very not petty about Drake, like having a secret child. That's a big question mark.
He also made fun of his engineer. I forget what disease he has, but it's like a muscular degenerative disease. This guy 40, Drake's friend, and so there's one line in the song where he's like something tick tick tick, how much time he got. That man is 666, and then he plays the 66. Like Drake's little tag is 6, is because Toronto is 6 area code, whatever the fuck. Anyway, it's like this thing where he's basically just poking fun at this dude's fucking like fatal illness. And it's really not like a nice thing, and it started this whole conversation of like how far is too far in a rap beef, and
it's interesting. We already knew how far was too far with Tupac and
exactly, yeah. Like in terms of words, there's no such thing as too far. Like you could overstep a line, but it doesn't mean it's too far. You know, like really, like it doesn't really matter. You can be like whoa, but it's still you just said something. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting. That's Jesus. That's crazy.
Yeah. There's your rap beefs of 2010s summarized.
That's insane. Listen, the fact that I never knew this, and probably everyone listening was like, "How does he not know that?" is upsetting to you. But man, oh man, that was crazy. That was a wild ride for me to go on with you right now.
Just look up Pusha T Drake, and there's 3 songs. There's one called Infrared that was Pusha T's first kind of like, you don't write your like, it was a direct thing after the stuff had kind of died down. Pusha T came at Drake on his album and said, oh, you don't write your own songs. And then Drake came out with a song called Duppy Freestyle that was pretty okay, and then Pusha T came out with the story of Addie Dawn, and that was the end. So just look up those 3 songs if you're interested in hearing the actual music, or you can just go and read the summaries or whatever.
My song of the week is not that interesting in comparison to the story to me. It's called Dirty Paws by Monsters and Men. And when you listen to the song, I want you to really, really listen to lyrics.
Sure.
Because the song is a story being told by a dragonfly. And it's great. I like this song a lot.
Nice.
It is probably the most like folksy song I listen to.
Interesting.
And it's from an Icelandic band. I think they're from Iceland. They're from a Scandinavian country for sure. I think they're from Iceland though.
I've heard of the band, but that song concept is interesting.
Yeah, they're really famous for Little Talks, which is probably like their biggest hit in the U.S. But Dirty Paws is off the soundtrack for The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, and just a really, really interesting song as well. I like it a lot.
Nice.
And yeah, it's not indie pop with a lady singer. It's pretty different and kind of out there. I like it a lot. I think you'll like it, but yeah, like it's a story within a story, and it's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I like concept songs. Like I can only think of one, and it's not appropriate to mention right now, but I like songs that are kind of standalone stories or kind of like abstract weird things that are kind of on their own, you know?
Yeah, I don't know what it is about the Monsters and Men, but almost all their songs are a little bit out there.
Yeah.
I've never heard a song by them and been like, this is just a good song to listen. It's always like, what are they even talking about? Like, if you ever listen to Little Talks and you're like focusing on the lyrics, you're like, what is this? This is a house talking to a person. What are they talking about here?
Yeah.
But yeah, Monsters and Men is an interesting band, and Dirty Paws is great. And yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I will listen to that, and I'll tell you about what I think about it next week.
Please do. I hope you would like it. I guarantee it's better than As I Do. So, I guarantee. That's the low ball. I'll tell you right now, I will never send you a song worse than As I Do.
Just to be clear, I did not mean to go so hard on that song or that group or that lady or you or whatever. I just, like I said, time and place. I listened to it, and it was not the time nor the place for me to listen to it. And maybe I had an overwhelmingly negative reception as a result of that. I don't know. What I'm saying is, don't let me bully you for your music taste. Sorry about that.
No, here's the thing about Purity Ring. They're probably the least, like even I don't like them that much. But
don't let me bully you.
Like, it just no. Like, here's the thing: is like I think technically they're not a great band, but some of their songs I just vibe with, and As I Do is the song that I vibe with. It's just they have another song called Crawler Spout. I think objectively that's a bad song. I love that song though. It's just such a weird thing. Like, they talk about something that doesn't. It's not appropriate for me to break out and down what that song is about, I don't think, but it's kind of a weird song. I don't recommend you to listen to it, but it is just an odd song.
Okay.
I'm really surprised that you disliked that song as much as you did there. Oh, also, okay, here's the other thing. I was actually going to have a different song of the week, because earlier this week I was listening to Thriller by Michael Jackson, and then I watched the music video.
Classic.
That's like a music movie. Yeah. It's like 20 minutes and has like 3 stories. Yeah. I didn't realize how long that was.
When it comes back, you know how it's like the want, and there's like no words for a while, and everybody, it's just the zombies like coming up for the first time, and like that whole thing is so cool.
And then like the iconic Thriller dance.
Yeah, that's such a cool video.
It really is. It's like, what's funny is that it tells like story to it. I've never seen a music video do that, like in that much detail.
It's like the whole, I don't know. It feels so grand. Like, it's a grand opening, you know, not a soft opening. Like, they really invested into the whole video and made it like a whole thing, and it's something that you will actually watch for 20 minutes, and each part of it is unique, and each part of it like had care and attention, and so it's actually fun to watch the entire thing. It's like you don't see that, you know.
And there's some like iconic things in it, like just things that culturally we've just pulled from that music video. It's kind of funny. Yeah,
like the movie 13. Also, sorry, go ahead.
No, go. You finish your thought, because let's move on to a different song by Michael Jackson that I listened to.
Oh no, the whole movie 13 going on 30 with Jennifer Garner. Her character is like obsessed with Michael Jackson, so she's constantly doing that dance, and it's like, even if you don't watch the video, you know that's from Thriller, like just that little weird arm thing. So
100%. I watched the music video for Bad as well.
That's a Tommy Gun one.
Just like, no.
That's Smooth Criminal. Never mind.
That's Smooth. Yeah. Bad is Bad. The music video for Bad is directed by Martin Scorsese.
I did not know that.
I didn't either. Going into it, that's one of the most in-depth music videos I've ever seen. It literally is like, it's not a music video. It just breaks down like African American like communities during that time. Like, literally, that's what it's about. And it's just like, if they didn't put a song in this and Michael Jackson is just acting, I would have believed that he was just in a movie about this. It was crazy. Yeah. Crazy. Go watch it. It's so weird.
Yeah. I'll look it up. I don't know if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, I don't know. So like Michael Jackson was gonna be the song of the week, and then I was like, after watching how long these music videos were, I was like, nah, this isn't music anymore. It's just a short film.
Yeah. Using the Thriller video for the basis of your song of the week is cheating. It's like that'll always win no matter what.
Yeah, kind of. I was in a competition to win.
Well, for me, it's
go ahead.
No, but for me, I was thinking about the Juice WRLD album. And I was listening to that Kid Cudi song, and I knew, it was like, well, one of these is going to be my song of the week. It's not the Kid Cudi song. Okay, well, it's probably not Man of the Year. And it's like, I do have to pick a winner at a certain point. It's kind of like you did. You picked a winner.
Yeah. I try to pick the song that I listened to and vibed with the most. I vibed with the hardest this week, basically. But sometimes I have to, like, change because... sometimes that's like the second or third, because sometimes it'll be like the same song for like 2 or 3 weeks. So I have to pick like a tier below.
Mm-hmm. I feel that.
Oh. Although now I know I'll never pick another Purity Ring song for you.
Okay, how about this? You ruined 8-Bit Armies for me, so I ruined Purity Ring for you. fair swap.
The difference here is that I still listen to Purity Ring.
All right, well, maybe you come out on top in this one, but still. I got something.
You did. You got the bully effect in.
Yeah.
All right. You ready to wrap this one up?
I'm ready to wrap this one up.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. And we will catch you next week for episode 39.
Thank you for listening. Homegames.io. We have a website.
Yes, we do.
We also have a bunch of broken code. It'll be broken for a little while, but hopefully by next week or the week after, it'll be not broken. Check that out, too.
But we're going to have CI.
Maybe, if we do our work we're supposed to do. Anyway, we'll see you next week.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.